Hello everyone. So coming back with today's editorial. Sorry for getting late because actually my PPT was cut again, cut it three more times, and I wasted my 30 minutes. Earlier the PPT was long, but I get due to shortage of time I just reduced the PPT's pages. Coming with the more important PPTs and yesterday's that left out PPTs I added today. So let's start the today's editorial. Let's have a recap with the first page about the Jaishankar attended Trump January 20 swearing in ceremony, Washington DC, about a docking trial. Second one is about the declining fertility level in Kerala's maternal mortality ratio and about the border issue with Bangladesh. Third one is the Mahakumbh begins today with the Shahi Snan. Fourth one is there's two editorial about the data protection. First one is this and second one is this. So moving to the next one, international affairs. Saudi Arabia and fighter of law scramble to the Los Angeles fires. Let me add one more PPT. Let it be. I will add it on next tomorrow's PPT. Youth power nation will develop a nation, says Modi. Ninth one is about the lithium batteries. One science editorial that was left on Sunday's article. So today I am covering it. And 10th one was state affairs about Bengal government. So let's start with the front page. So the Jaishankar to attend the Trump's January 20 sharing in ceremony in Washington DC. So there was going to a meeting of our external foreign ministry to the to Trump January 20s in ceremony in Washington DC. So there was Mr. Trump had invited several heads of government and the present at the event subsequent celebration at Washington DC. So here the external EM Jaishankar represent the government of India swearing ceremony as the Trump 47th election 47th president of United States. So here Mr. Shankar visited US from December. In December 24 to 29 when he meet with official from Biden administration with Congressman Michael Waltz, who has been chosen by Mr. Trump to be next national security advisor. Just remember his name. So already the Jaishankar has already met the national security advisor in the recent. We've already covered India's tutorials back. So the Mr. Jaishankar visited US from December 24 to 29 when he met official Biden. Already he met the 24-29 when he met official Biden's and Congressman Michael Waltz, who has been Trump to be next national security advisor. On December 29 he was already met. So there's a second Trump administration been a global interest since it came to be the Chinese president 11 Jinping was invited in evening and soon and Trump also met several global leaders like President Macron of France, President Volodymyr Zelensky. So there can relations after the coming of the Trump government there was a better in the relations of with other foreign other countries. He tried to improve their relation. So moving to the next docking trial of ISRO successfully nudging two satellite closer. Already there was a news about the ISRO's. I covered in yesterday newspapers that the first time the Indian Space Research Organizations announced that Sunday that they had brought within 3 meters each trial in a very important news as a science affair. Science and technology. So it is moved then back to safe space. Its name is SpaceX docking update. So here basically there is a maybe it was not visible, but the SpaceX, the mission was designed to develop and demonstrate the technological lead of aircraft undocking using the two satellites PSLV-60 carried SDX here important is SDX01. The name is derived from S, T and X. Name is derived from here. So this and that is chasers, SDX1 chaser, and SDX2 is target. To the space from Satish Dhawan, Sriharikota on December 30. So the space decks dock updating as 15 meter. We see each other very clear. And for exciting hand sake, agency posted a release of photo of two videos satellites here, covering the videos of two satellites, and it has set back last week unexpected drift due to the satellite, resulting in a postponement of docking experiment on January 8. Hour before the experiment was to carry out the agency to the postpone the drift and then expected. So it is an essential futuristic missions to the such as sending Indian astronaut to moon, sample returns from moon, and building operation of Indian space station. Basically there was going to be more launching of the Chandrayaan 4 mission 4 human space flight mission, human space, and also Indian space stations. So there is a upcoming plans of the ISRO's. India will become the fourth country. India will become the fourth after docking experiment successfully. India become the fourth country to, after US, Russia and China, to accomplish the feat. So moving to the next article is about declining fertility rate push the Kerala's maternal mortality ratio. So here MMR is calculated by number of maternal death by total live birth into 1000 to 1000. So it is, so what is the case about this? Basically if anyone asks about what is maternal mortality rate, then there is a the number of maternal death over total live birth. But what if there is not increasing the child numbers, like there is not a fertility rate is decreased so that the child is not born. So here it was about the Kerala maternal mortality is lowest in the country at 19 per 1 lakh. 90 per 1 lakh live births is now climbing steadily. Like here the data 110, 63, 61, 19. Earlier the data was good, but at day by day it was decreasing. So the live births now climb steadily. Much now the studies of health department, the state of health department. So the reason for the increase may be beyond the control of official. The latest sample registration special building on maternal mortality rate 2018-20 brought the data about a Registrar General of India put the Kerala's MMR at 90. At 90, however, while it depended on sample survey to arrive the figure of health department, actually the Kerala had there is already institutional deliveries, means the deliveries that is taking place inside the 100% institutional deliveries, as the deliveries that are taking place inside the hospitals, not anywhere. So it's 100%. So except during the 2020 to 21, the Kerala lost many women. Kerala lost many women at COVID-19 and childbirths. The state had constantly had a firm grip over maternal mortality. Ironically, the current spike is not because more women are dying, but because there are fewer childbirths than ever in the state. Here is the reason. There is not this is not because of the fewer maternal mortality rate. More women are dying, but because of their childbirth is very less. So the state has now hit the low. State has hit the low of 393 5231 births. 313 births from the average 5 to 55 lakh, and annually earlier showed latest data of economic and static department of state. Data was by economic and static state department of state, and it is tipped the denominator that pushing the MMR up, not necessarily an actual spike in maternal death. So the health department put the lives in the birth state between 3 to 4 lakh, where 3.9 lakh currently 3.9 lakh currently is the full statistical report, VSR. Here it is the VSR report is of 2020, expected by January end. So the decline in fertility level, changing demographic, many fear have that irrevocable impact on state social fabric, because if there is only a older population, there is no young population there, then the state has impact on the health system. There should be more advanced health system, the younger. And in India, if there is a less fertility rate in the state, that Kerala as a top position. And in our countries, if we see where is the older populations are more, then there is a Europe, Japan, South Korea, where there is a very less older population is more and younger population is very less. So in the Kerala, there was it's about the 4926. There is a 5 lakh mark for the first time in 2016, and 496. The data was already, it's reducing day by day. It's 492262 live births. It's live births, which since 2018 the figure has been plummetly steadily decreasing. Like the number of the last published VCR 2020 record, the total is 419. 1 minute. So it's 419,761. So as a part of sustainable development goals, Kerala was targeting MMR of 20 by 2030. They are targeting this MMR is 20. So however, this look quite unlikely that given birth rates are falling steeply. We reckon the state MMR in 2024-25 has already climbed to 32, says the VP Bailey, a senior consultant and obstetricist. So it is now a Herculean task to hold MMR at 20. So all the major medical causes, we have successfully addressed all the major medical mortality, the issues that impacting the state MMR. Now not something that is essentially within. So here we are seeing the impact of demographic changes. Like, what are the demographic changes? Low fertility, okay, low fertility, immigration, changing societal attitudes towards marriage, and the childbirth in Kerala is much earlier than we thought. So here the birth rate and begin falling in Kerala, and steep fall in number of children born now is a part of larger trend. And if there is something is started earlier, then it is very tough to be like the changes that is already made. There are changes, steadily changes. Then it take time to just overcome that pattern. Just follow the another pattern. So here the birth rate, it has been 3 decades since the birth rate began falling in Kerala, and steep falls in the childborn is now a larger trend. And problem is that once fertility rate comes to down, the graph really goes up, because the demographic transition is hard. Of course, it is demographic transition hard to reverse. So it is the chairman of International Institute and IMED says. So Kerala led the demographic transition of South, attaining the level fertility of 2.1 in 1987 to 88, and the flexible fertility level to the woman needs to replace herself so that the population is stable. So just ending this. One is the border issue of Bangladesh summoned the Indian envoy. So what is about like uh, what is the length that we share with the Bangladesh? It is 4096 meter. So the interim government has a deep concern. Is a deep concern prevailing the situation. Dhaka message from Foreign Secretary Mohammad Jasmine Uddin to India's High Commissioner Pranay during a meeting held soon after advisor and the chairperson that India has been erecting defenses in five locations and alleged that Bangladesh authorities not consulted before starting construction work. So he announced that India only was being summoned to discuss. So we have understanding the regard the fencing of border for BSF and BGB have been communicated with High Commissioner Verma told media. So the border issue that to summons by Indian envoy. So the moving to the next is Mahakumbh begins today with Sai Snan. So it is going to be it is started from 13 January. It is going till the Feb. It's about the 45 days of the Mahakumbh Mela. It was a estimated population that is going is about to coming is 40 more than 40 crores peoples. So here is about the 45 days Mahakumbh Mela was the biggest religious gathering at Prayagraj, Uttar Pradesh, with Sai Snan at the occasion of the Posh Purnima at the Sangam, confluence Yamuna, Saraswati river. So all the arrangements have been put place at Sangam and other banks, and the key sites in Mahakumbh area. Checking the vehicles were carried out, road Prayagraj and others. The Mahakumbh held after 12 years and will conclude on Feb 26, where 400 million people is expected. So it's going to be 400 million people to be expected to visit event, and 5 police stations. What are the arrangements made? 45 police stations, 45,000 police personals, 13 akharas has been. So it was the 24 hours. What Eastern General John Narayan Mishra said that drone is also functional at high speed, so that there is a keeping eyesights in, there is no much so much stampede any reason anything else to, hold. So the peaceful Mela organize for peaceful Mela organization, the UP government has doing their best. So there are two India data protection rules. The first one is and second one I'm covering with in a mix-up way, so that because both the data is just telling about the digital data protection, so I will cover in a just in mixing way, like in a same in one way by merging it. So the India's data protection rule needs some fine tuning. Here it's about the January. Let me open that page. So it's the India data protection rules need some fine tuning. It's about the January 3. Here already written. The Ministry of Electronics MEITY released the much anticipated draft digital protection DPD. It's DPD. So Act 2000 bringing closer to the operationalizing and training the safeguarding personal data. So even the hostile to industry interest, it underwent extensive reframing and consultation over nearly a decade. So here it is about to regulate the so-called Brussels effect. Where the global digital rulemaking mirrored the European Union and taken a regulatory ethos and pragmatic stances. Here the GDPR is GDPR, and what is it? General Data Protection is General Data Protection Regulation, GPDR. So once held in the gold standard by privacy expert, now faces. So what is the hit pragmatism and flexibility? That GDPR has a cumbersome requirements such as notifying the use of indirect data acquisition, cross-border data, automated decision-making processing. Constant fatigue, a significant issue in Europe where users are individuated and as notifying users of indirect data acquisition, cross-border transfer. So there is a simplicity and clarity, and this help to reduce the constant fatigue of significant. So basically, what a DPD rules sidestep pitfall by focusing on outcomes. And focusing on the outcomes without drawing the business and consumer unnecessary complexities, rules to avoid dictating how uh, entities should be enabled. Users exercise their rights to correction, erasure, nomination, withdrawal of consent, seek information, and from entities. So, including instances, entities may provide information orally to users. So why should state dictate every aspect or app, website, design or user interface? India's approach thankfully respect the business autonomy and innovations. So take the case of educational institution. Supplemental education and vocational training services rely on activities such as behavioral monitoring, tracking to deliver targeted interventions tailored students' academic performances. So targeted interventions tailored academic performance, these practices leverage the benefits of learning the management system. An education institution such as clinical, so the practice, there is a benefits about the like learning management system that personalize the instruction, improve educational outcomes. Recognizing the rules, the education institution clinical, it is benefits like clinical health, clinical and mental health establishment, allied healthcare providers, allied health provider, child care centers are not required to verify parental consent for tracking behavioral monitoring as long as they adhere to the guardrails. The exemption of such industries demonstrate the nuisance understanding that reflecting the principle throughout the policy making. So what are the missions of data locations such as restricting the cross-border data and SDFs? SDF is significant data fiduciaries, large enterprises. Its SDF is significant data fiduciaries that in large enterprises handling the substantial datas and volumes faces a potential. So the DPDB Act allowing the government to restrict the personal data transfer, limited such as action to specific countries, differentiating between SDF and smaller entities, where second enjoy relaxed transfer rules of the unfair advantages, localization provision challenged by the law. So here the data breaches the cost Indian was 19.5 crore. That is 2.3 billion million. $2.35 million in 2024 complies with the protection obligations and with the convergence of the internet things, 5G, artificial intelligence, data collections, Indian must invest in the privacy. So the 5G artificial intelligence must have necessary privacy frameworks, consultations, refined data, and maintain a balance between innovations, economic growth. So there is a balance between innovation, economic growth, individual rights, something that is not many education have managed to get right. So the second editorial, the same data draft digital protections rules and authorities, where there was a case about famous case that marks the 2000 marked the 6 years, and still this case is still we are trying to protect the data protection route. Already it was 6 years ago we are petition is filed about the through the case Putta Swami judgment, and where there is the fundamental privacy as a fundamental right. We're talking there the privacy as a fundamental right. When a person is born, they are born with their fundamental rights. Privacy is added to them, but still we are struggling today for our data protections, internet freedom. Foundation the hosted annual privacy supreme Privacy Supreme event not as a celebration but as a solemn reflection. Social activist Nikhil Dey shared a chilling accounts from the Ajmer that efficiencies excluded the vulnerable resident. The grim reality most central policy discussion to draft digital protection DPDR rules 2025. Draft the digital data protection rules. So, executing over its scanty transpiration, laws passed by Parliament enforceable while maintaining the administrative flexibility. Yet, the draft protection rules provoke the concerns about questions of executive and overreach the vague governance. Some earlier analysis, like repetitions of these rules, are the Constituents Pupils Obedience Masters Parents Digital Protection Act 2000 that was rammed through the parliament. Subversion, there is a meter substantive total state control. It's about the act of passage of August 9. The 16 months later, the rules have been drafted and English has a gazette notifications like choices of drafting. My government platforms encourage the expert input. So the transparency is undermined by the government decisions. Substantial data protection reveals the framework. International vague notices handling personal data, leaving the interpretations critical. Similarly, clarify whether the disclosure of define the timelines for data breach, administrative setting powers. So there is no independence for data protection boards. The act has eschewed the creation of independent within the union government data protection board DPB, so which has limited the ambit of judications chaired by the cabinet secretary. Critical concern committee addressed the anti-critics of plaques. So DPB is hamstrung to authority, and the controversial long-standing recommendation 2006 planning commission consultation paper on regulation. So here is a what does deeply applied data protection rule effectively. Rule 5 exempts data processing subsidies. In such case there is meaning accountability. So here is the rule for foreseen meaningful accountability. It is not unreasonable at that DPP may fail act to promptly, effectively, and particularly entities. So here about the DPP may fail to act to promptly, which effectively grew the particularly where complaint involved a UIDAI that handles the Aadhaar. It raises the fundamental doubts. That approach the getting data. Finally, the Rule 22, which contains the power of government to requisition. Like information. There is an absence of limitations. Safeguards as many this road column. Rules are too late, too little, too vague. It's characteristic of the married column, like digital policies of Indian state reference through the looking glass. His reply captures the core of India's protection. The question is to become masters, that's all. So now moving to the next, nothing so important but just added as an international affair. If any location anything is I can ask. So the Saudi Arab calls for lifting the Syria curves talks at EU. So here is the Saudi Arabia on Sunday called for lifting the sanction of Syria, meeting top diplomats Europe, the Gulf of Kingdom seeking to increase the influence in Syria after the Islam-led toppled the ruler of Bashar Assad. Last month analysis, the Syria leader that was left Syria and fled to the Russia. We stress the importance of lifting unilateral and international sanction imposed on Syria as aspirations of Syrian people to achieve development and reconstruction of Saudi Foreign Minister Faisal bin. Here it can be asked, not be asked, but just remember for the general business. Arab officials that border gathering included Turkey. The European diplomat Kaja Kalas said on Friday that section of Syria's new rulers to be step firm that protected minorities, and European foreign ministers had sent on January 27 to discuss this. German Foreign Minister Annalena Baerbock in Riyadh that government wanted a smart approach. Next is the firefighter scramble contains Los Angeles fire. So the firefighters battled on the Sunday to get a Los Angeles find as pushing the blazes. At least 60% confirmed dead. Now the list are getting increased more by more. More the data earlier we read 2, 3, then it is reached up to 16. So has ripped through the city communal unrest and thousands of fires, millions of California residents, heroic efforts including the precision sortie, aerial crews. These are the efforts that is trying to put to overcome the that area firing that the fire in the flue in the wind was rapidly giving away. The forecaster warned about the critical fire weather condition ramp up again today, and Southern California last early and made it to spread of ongoing development. So moving to the next, youth power will make India a developed nation. So on the occasion of the National Youth Day, Mr. Narendra Modi just organized that Youth Viksit Bharat, where they get the opportunities to show their through the literary arts, cultures, their participations, and their so that was organized. He was interacting with the participants during his visit to exhibitions at a Viksit Bharat Young Leader Dialogue on New Delhi on Sunday. It was that he advises younger generation to step out comfort zone. That is the biggest stuff to come out comfort zone. That I'm also struggling with it. Addressing the Viksit Bharat Young Leader Dialogue, PM says the goal of develop India by 2047 require daily targets and consistent effort. That is a listing step to empower them. Basically, two things are most important: consistency and that living out the comfort zone. So the Narendra Modi on Sunday said the youth has would drive the Congress and India a developed nation, setting a big goal to achieve them. Country was a mind set, and addressing the youth, young leaders said that Mr. Modi, the goal of the developed India is to have by only daily targets, just completing the daily targets and consistent efforts, and take a risk. This youth to step out their comforts, take risk as demonstrated by participant of young leaders, and he reiterated a commitment to bringing 1 lakh new young people into politics. So here the sharing the vision, Modi said that in developed India both economy and ecology would flourish. The country and world largest skilled youth workforce. Already India is the largest globe that consisting of youth population. And if youth is transformed into the great direction, that India will be not, the day is not so far that we are turned into developed nation. Well, every third day adult tinkering lab was opened with 2 new colleges were established. India has now 23 IITs, and past triple IITs has increased 25 from 9, while number of IIM has risen from 21 from 13. There was a 3-fold increase, but not increasing in the medical college. Why? So, justice should be, there should be justice about the medical students. So he acknowledged that while the globe of developed India should be significant, it was impossible overcoming crisis. So New Deal, and it's about basically what has happened there and how youth should be led, was initiative by Narendra Modi and Viksit Bharat. So their achievements, their works were shown there. So moving to the next is what is different from small language models. So we are going to achieve the big data formats. Open Chief Scientist Ilya Sutskever said on Austin Newry IPS conference last year that we have to deal that there is only one internet commitment crimes. Comments from admin speculation of the LLM large language models. Why it's smaller models in demand. So the race toward the large AI models has been building since OpenAI released in 175 billion parameter. OpenAI. So GPT, LLM, GPT is basically, I also don't know about this topic. There's a very this more is more fond of related to the science and technology, science and tech. So if you don't, um, if I'm not able to understand it properly, just make sure that you read it self and do some researches. I just got a very less time to cover this tutorial, but I'm not able to cover this newspaper in morning, so I'm just directing on the spot. I am just reading in the front of you. Next year, company LLM further increased the size. GPT-4 trained 1.7 trillion parameter, but in 2024, researchers started to look language models differently in scaling training data. Internet was giving marginal gains, an idea of becoming big trends firm. So the Google Deep Mind release Gemini Ultra Nano Flash models. OpenAI Meta launch GPT-40 admit 3 model. Amazon backed AI Claude 3 and the HiQ alongside sound. So just remember these nifty AI models. Google DeepMind. What are the pros and cons of small language model? Here are the small examples of the small language AI models. So the training small models require less time, less. These are advantages. What are the pros and the cons of small language model? So it requires less time, less compute, less training data. How do cars differ? Small language model are perfect in edge cases. Meta application is powered by Lima 8V model. How it work for India? In country like there is a scope for AI adaptation, but resource is constrained, so there is a SML is perfect. Another AI initiative from IIT Hyderabad is Visvam is building Visham. It's Vishvam. So is a building dataset ground and promote diversity through the data website stated, and building and the model front-end model from scratch. So Sharam's AI co-founder Vivek Raghav said, we want to build that billion Indians can use. Small language model SLM are cheaper, ideal for specific edge cases. In country like India, AI adaptation immense limitation of SLM perfects. So moving about the add lithium batteries and flight dangerous. Science and tech, it was given in the on the Sunday tutorial, but I just that was yesterday I left it, so I added tomorrow. Lithium batteries are flight dangerous because International Federation of IFAL on the fire risk about due to the aircraft setting. The paper are motivated by air operators increasing electric vehicles and avian becoming a more energy dense. So it is a, what is ILFE? Is a global it's global non-for-profit representing international community professional, and after the Second World War the UN establishes the International Civil Aviation Organization. So it was born at an event of 13 Pilot Association according to a source of ISCO website. It is a belief that it is a unique perspective of pilot operating schedule that's significant at ISO standards. ICAO regulates and recommend the practices of SARPS. All abbreviation have their full forms, so don't be if I'm not detecting it, don't be get panic, because already everything is written in this editorial. So Airport Council International, so why the fear of lithium batteries? Because at a certain degree the energy for this machine traditionally has been produced by burning fossil fuel. As under pressure replace this thermal principle cause global warming with electric energy. EVs draws electric energy from a battery to drive electric motor and supply a kinetic energy to the wheels, and it is an internal combustion engine that in internal combustion engine heat is released by burning fossil fuels, moves the piston and out of wheels. The lithium ion batteries and rotatory motion on the wheels and cause emerged as a rotatory motion of wheels. So lithium ion batteries have emerged as a popular solution for storing electric energy because they are energy dense, rechargeable, made almost in any shape. These are the pros. Advantages: and lithium ion batteries have been known to catch fire when they are subjected to certain physical stress. These are the cons, that they just catches fire in any physical stress or circuit inside a battery, leaving this and can result up to mechanical, electrical, thermal abuse respectively, as deform. And our South Carolina mechanical engineer said that they may have a result of EV batteries being rated for waterproof when they are sitting in salt water. So the paper says that the POSC2 and POSC3 are more general, which causes these flames and release. POC3 extend this concern flight deck area collectively. And the Union Aviation Ministry said that the existing fire kit couldn't be responded adequately. So PSO is concerned with safe transport, lithium ion batteries, especially 340, 3480 and 3481, since UN classifies these batteries as a dangerous good. These are classified as 3481, 3480 and 3480 has a classified dangerous goods. Regulations specify packaging, and UN 3480 applies to lithium ion batteries bulk, and UN 43842 lithium ion batteries fit inside some equipments that being transported in the bulk. So the one difference is that the regulation of UN 4 requires batteries to be charged less than, for this, for one you require the batteries to charge, and UN 3 doesn't. So PSO content UN 43 didn't adopt this restriction because it assumed manufacturer would install safeguards. Increasing the size of equipment, SO3 would limit the extent of UN 3 as well. So moving to the last slide, the Bengal government announces the initiative to attract the pilgrims to the Gangasar Mela, and also it is related to Kolkata Star Theatre, covering in the same page of the state news of Kolkata. Like at Kumbh Prayagraj, the organizer of Ganga Sagar Mela also are here to at the confluence of Ganga with the Bay of Bengal. And initiative was Sunday announced a slow initiative including the pilgrims to participate. The Minister of West Bengal led the state Power Minister Arup was led by conference and Bandhan initiative. Pilgrims visiting availing the certificates 3 languages. Viswasagar at Ganga Mela and his cabinet language. So here the other initiatives like e-Sandhan, pilgrims can find access facility at Mela ground, and e-Parichai, QR code, missing people Mela. These are the initiative that was led by him, so that there is, if anyone is missing, there was some access facilities at Mela ground. 42 lakh pilgrims have visited this island. This was expressing number of pilgrims would cross record of 1,223,000. So Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee has pushing the national Mela status for Gangasar Mela several years. It was held in Bengal, and earlier this month Mr. Banerjee has said union government supported the Kumbh Mela but did not extend any support to Ganga Sagar Mela. So Trinamool Congress echoes similar sentiments. The Gangasar Mela was not being granted the status of national Mela, so they wanted a granted status about Gangasar Mela. 2,500 governments, private buses, and these are the facilities that was provided by the government. So it was a Kolkata Star Theatre is Arvindo Saharani, the Ironic Center of Old Theatre, Arvindo and Pinsarni, North Kolkata. That theatre plaque name Bindunu Theatre was renaming the Mamata Banerjee renaming the announcement in December, and all the banners were changes, banners and the places auditorium promptly replaced. The performer Binduni Dasi, the performer theatre Binodini Dasi. So the researchers Sudha Satya Ghosh, original theatre established in 1883 at 68 Bidon Street was a location where it is by 1930 and supported by like this, supported the patrons, and these all are felt betrayed. Binodri paid had played like Girish Govis and etc. Binodri theatres. What is the name changed into the is theatre, and basically what when it was established, when location can be asked like. So for today let's have a summary. Heading to the today's editorial, let's have a quick summary. So the front page of for the Jessica to attend the Trump's language 20 swearing ceremony, Washington, docking trial of Ishro. Second one is about the fertility rate declining, border issues with Bangladesh. Third is about the Mahakumbh begins with today's Sahi Snan. Fourth article is about the two articles related to data protections laws covering both. So seventh one is about the firefighter scramble Los Angeles, Saudi Arabia lifting Syria curbs talk. Ninth one is about a language small language model. Tenth one is about the lithium batteries, why it is dangerous in flights, and what the Bengal government initiative has led. So thank you for today. Let's meet tomorrow with new article. Till now, good night. Take care.